going to call to order the June 4th Town Council meeting for the town of Kensington. First item on the agenda is the moment of silence. Does anyone have anybody they would like to lift up or anything? Okay, I'm not seeing any hands. All right, if we can just bow our heads for a moment. Okay, thank you very much. All right, moving down on the agenda. Council, you all were sent the minutes for the May 13th Town Council meeting. I think Councilmember Engel made some edits. They were accepted by Susan and she resent them out. I don't think I heard anything else from anyone. So if there are no additional edits, if I can get a motion to approve the May 13th meeting minutes.
I'll move that we approve the meeting minutes from the town council meeting of May 13th.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. We also had a special town meeting. Was a closed session. I think I'm looking at an older one for May 18th. I did not see anything on that. If we could get a motion.
Move to approve the meeting minutes from the closed session meeting of May 18th.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. All right. It's a terrible thing. I want my paper. Matt, did you want to do the acknowledgements?
Sure. We'd like to acknowledge that the mayor and council met in closed session on May 18th in accordance with State Government Article 3-305B7 to consult with the town attorney with regards to the proposed acquisition of 15,167 square feet from Parcel A of the Kensington Crossing Homeowners Association, along with the proposed sale of the town-owned lot at 3420 Flyers Mill Road. I'd also like to note for the council and public, staff is requesting that we go into closed session towards the end of the meeting to get a follow-up from Town Attorney Ferguson on both of these items.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, and let's see. Do you want to do number 2, please?
I'd like to, there is a letter from the Board of Supervisors for Elections to certify the June 1st, 2026 town election, in which Mayor Furman, Councilmember Lichter, and Councilmember Engel were reelected with no opposition.
Okay. Thank you very much. Number 3.
Are we not supposed to say anything?
Oh, did
Thank
you want
you?
to say thank you?
Speech.
Talk about the ice cream.
Speech.
My speech was prepared. I just wanted to say it's an honor to be elected again, even though it was uncontested. And to serve with such a wonderful council and town staff for another 2 years. So I'm very honored.
Thank you, Nate. Ann, would you like to add anything?
Well, now I feel I must say that I'm pleased to be continuing to serve. And as we discussed the last town council meeting, after Joe and others asked about uncontested elections, I still offer a conversation to anyone in town who's curious about serving on a committee, curious about running for town council. I encourage more people to participate. It's a great way to serve the community, and I'll look for a way to hold that type of conversation in the future.
Yeah, and I believe we're going to make this on our agenda for our organizational meeting, more to just talk about it and how we want to go about providing that information to our residents and the opportunities, as they come up and they feel they're ready to move. So we will discuss that at our meeting, which we will set at the end of the evening.
And to anyone listening, there is no shortage of ways to get engaged with committees and volunteer opportunities, especially I think everyone's noticing that this week.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
There's still table spots for Greenscape, Sustainable Kensington tabling at Ernest Memorial Park for the home and garden pilgrimage. So anyone wants to sign up, let us know.
Well,
Many other ways.
joining a committee is truly the best way of starting out, to learn more about the town. So definitely would encourage people to start that way, or start, coming and listening to the meetings. That's very important too. Okay. All right.
Mayor Furman, I noticed you also were reelected. Did you want to say anything?
Honestly, I feel like it's just not stopped because, I think with the Maryland House and Garden pilgrimage, it has just been, okay, we finished one thing, let's start to do something else. So I just have not felt like there's been some sort of break between the two, and it's just a consistent thing. And I will take some credit though for getting the train station to open on Sunday, which they did not want to do. And I want to thank someone from the town who has connections or who grew up in the town, doesn't live here anymore, but who grew up in the town, who helped me get the train station open. So I won't say who it is, but I want to thank him for knowing the right people and getting that done. So that's part of that networking thing, how important it is, because when you need a favor, you know who you can call. So the organizers were very happy because they had planned to do a big display inside the station. So it worked out great. Okay. All right. Let's see, Matt. How about number 3?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. We have a.
This, Matt?
Oh, sure. Do you want to introduce? Okay, go ahead.
Oops, again, if you want. No, sorry. Okay, so we have there's a new tenant at 10800 Connecticut Avenue. Justin Cook, the applicant, is on the call. They've requested a variance with Montgomery County, not us. The sign review board has asked for comment. They want to replace the existing sign on the south side of the building. For reference, in 2024, the county approved a variance for the existing sign for Quality Builders. And so they've just asked us to provide comment. So Mr. Cook's on the call to answer any questions if you have any.
And that's the building at Farragut in Connecticut. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So, Alex, if I understood the variance request, Quality Builders has vacated. They're no longer in the building. Their signs are coming off the building, and the proposed signs are to replace them.
Correct. And they've also they've applied for a sign permit to replace the one on the front of the building, but the new sign will be much smaller than the existing one because they also needed a variance. The previous tenant got a variance for that sign. It's larger.
Yep.
Do we have pictures of the signs yet?
Yes, there's I can share my screen, but there's a picture of the rendering in the staff memo. It's pretty similar, but I can share my screen.
I was just curious if people wanted to see it.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'll share my screen.
Okay.
I had a quick question because I read the staff memo. Is that right to ask questions? Sorry, Tracy.
No, go ahead.
Okay. There isn't the sign on Connecticut Avenue that's eastern facing now, is there?
Yes, there is.
Yes.
There is. Okay. Because I thought I remember having the conversation about this a couple of years ago, and I thought that there was, we allowed it, but there was something we didn't allow. Can you refresh my memory that we said there was some restriction we did on the sign? I just want to make sure it carries over to this one too.
Yes. So they technically requested 3 variances. The one for the larger sign on the front, which was approved. They asked for one on the south side, which you were originally not in support of because we supported the sign above the customer entrance on the west side of the building, but they ended up not installing one there. They only installed the one on the south side. So there's still only 2 signs, and they originally asked for 3.
Okay. And by you, I think you mean, I think the council, the council
Yeah.
collectively didn't support it, but it's all within their square footage allotment.
Correct. Yeah, the maximum is 200.
Okay. Thanks. That's it for me.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? I see the picture. Oh, good. You have it up though. Okay.
So, Alex, for tonight, this is a variance solely for the sign on the south facade of the building. We're not talking about the east facade along Connecticut Avenue.
Correct. And it's not
Mhm.
it's not a variance through the town. It's just the sign
Right,
review board
signboard.
has asked for, yeah, for comment from us,
Yep.
whether we are in support or opposition to it.
Out of curiosity, what does the company do, Mr. Cook?
They're a contractor,
Okay.
so they do a number of different aspects of builds for their clients.
Okay.
I apologize. Yeah, I want to also thank you, all the town council members, for reviewing this request and for taking the time in this meeting to consider all the aspects of the fabrication installation on this area.
Council, do you have any other questions?
No, I have no questions. I've read through the staff report. The staff report is supportive. I'm looking at the image of the current sign that's there from Quality Builders. This looks to be an in-kind replacement, roughly, you know, slightly smaller, obviously different coloring. We were willing to, support the variance to the county signboard for the previous tenant, and I see no reason not to. I would be supportive of the variance request and having staff prepare communication to the county signboard.
Anybody else?
No, I just appreciate the detail provided, that it's pretty significantly smaller than the existing sign, which I think is a good thing, and I support the variance.
Nate or Stuart?
No, I just I support it. I just had a quick, just wanted to flag to everyone to make sure they saw the night mock-up and they're okay with it. It looks pretty reasonable to me. So I know that's not really what we're approving. It's mostly about the size and location, but yeah, I'm on board.
Does anybody in the audience have a question? Comment? I'm not seeing any hands. Do you want us to make a motion, Matt, to support?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, can we get a motion?
Sure, I'll move that we support the variance request with a letter to the Montgomery County Sign Board in support of the signage at 10800 Connecticut Avenue for the Constanto Group.
Okay, is there a second?
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Cook, for coming.
Hey, Mr. Cook, before you leave, and Matt, I assume your communication to the county board will be insofar as the application does not significantly change from that which was reviewed, right? Just withholding our ability that if for some reason they needed to revise their sign application, we would like another chance to review it.
Correct.
Yeah,
Oops,
Sorry,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry. Yeah,
Nope,
we were
Justin,
definitely
you're on the record.
we were definitely going to correct. We would any changes we would present that to the council again. We are still going to go through the variance process for Montgomery County as well for the review before moving forward for sure.
And then presumably you're also going to be bringing another variance, signboard review for the east side of the building for a second sign.
We had the town release for the east facing one currently. I'm in communications with Montgomery County to see if we need to pull an additional variance for that side as well. I did have communications just outlining a similar write-up to this meeting, stating that the sign was significantly smaller than the original, and it was our hopes, if possible, to make the replacement without going through the additional variance process with Montgomery County. I haven't received feedback yet, but if they do request that we do that, we certainly will.
Okay, and I ask one, thank you just for being conscientious to do that. But two, if you would look for support from us, we will meet in July, but we often will take a August recess. So just wanted you to be aware of that for your timing purposes.
Okay, that is very much appreciated, and we'll we'll definitely be keeping that in consideration. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, more than likely, I think we are planning a recess in August. We haven't talked about it. We'll talk about that in July, or we could decide tonight too whether we want to do that. But yeah. Okay. Thanks for pointing that out, Connor. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. All right. Our next item on the agenda, Matt, number 4.
So our July council meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, July 8th. We're required by the charter to hold an organizational meeting prior to this meeting. We wanted to speak with the council to confirm their availability and to hold the organizational meeting prior to our July 8th meeting, or if we need to reschedule for another date.
Is everybody available on the 8th of July?
I'm not.
I was going to say,
I saved you, Anne.
Participate virtually.
Yeah.
Because we need to, usually we do the organizational meeting at 6, and then we would have the meeting that would follow at 7. So obviously we want all 4 of our council members and the mayor there. So let's find a date that works for everyone. I know the week before is not good for staff, probably isn't good for anybody because that's the 4th of July week. So let's get our calendars out now so we can.
Any other day that week I can do.
Oh, you can't. It's just the 8th bad for
It's
you?
just the 8th, yeah.
Okay.
I would have to participate remotely, but I could participate virtually that week.
I would prefer everybody try to be in person if possible. I think that's just really helpful. We haven't been in either for a while. So how about the following week?
Following week, I will be here. The week of July 13th. Yes.
So if we did the Wednesday, the 15th.
Works for me.
Yep, that works for me.
Stuart? All right. Staff?
Works for staff. Just want to confirm with Sue Ellen.
All
Yep.
right. Okay. So July 15th, we will have the organizational meeting at 6, followed by the July council meeting at 7. And our goal, it should be able to do it at town hall. Good. So that will be in person and of course on Zoom as well. Okay. While we're talking, do you want to take that August recess?
Yeah.
Yep.
Usually it was nice, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, and good to know because that could change the agenda for the July meeting.
Okay. All right. So we will take a recess. All right. Before we go into the council's reports, does anybody have any questions about what we've talked about so far besides the signage? Okay, I'm not seeing any hands, so we will continue on. So council, if you have a report you would like to give, let's start with Connor. Let's start with you.
Sure. Just 2 quick items. The mayor and I met on a call with the Maryland Municipal League director, Ms. Teresa Coons, and several other Montgomery County municipality leaders. This all stemmed from the Starter and Silver Homes Act. We've talked about that a little bit, but more so, just how communication was flowing between all parties. This was a bill that would have usurped considerable local authority from all municipalities. In fact, everywhere lower than the state government. It, at our level, at the municipal level, came out of nowhere. We were not aware that this bill was being crafted by the administration and the Department of Housing and Community Affairs. We felt, we scrambled. I appreciate everybody here on the council that in our meetings, as we gave updates, we drafted letters, we submitted those letters back. If you remember, the bill went through, it was 28, Sue Ellen, you may know the final count. Last count was like 28 amendments proposed, 14 accepted, and it somewhat died. As it happens, these bills may come back. The point of the conversation with the MML director was, how were we caught completely unaware of such a bill? And it was a very good and frank conversation that, MML was also working to try and understand the bill when it came out. If anything, what I took away from the call is, the MML director was very direct and frank and transparent about their processes. And I think it opened a dialogue for, better, closer working between the municipalities and MML. I mean, she certainly espoused, hey, get involved, get on committees, be a regional vice president. In Montgomery County, we are fortunate that we have good representation. And Kensington has participated in numerous positions in the past. But it's just, we do rely on MML to be in Annapolis, to be aware, because we can't be everywhere. And so this was very good. And I want to publicly just acknowledge that I think the director, I came away with a better appreciation of the position that MML is in on bills like this. So that was it.
I think I was just going to say, as MML has, we have the new director, which was done a few years ago. They're just changing. Times are changing. They've added more staff. It's been really hard for some of the smaller municipalities to keep up with everything that MML is doing. So we have, opening this door that that the communication be a little bit, they're almost sending out too much information, more than we can handle. But this was in our letter, but to asset staff be able to participate a little bit more as far as knowing what's going on and then bringing it to us. I mean, we're quite involved and we didn't know anything about it. So anyway, so I agree with Connor. It was a great meeting, and all 11 of the lower county municipalities attended the meeting, and they found it to be really good. And many of them are coming to Ocean City for the conference, which is good. Ann, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I was just hoping, I want to thank you both for staying engaged and having the meeting with the MML team. I guess I just want to understand a little bit more what might be different going forward so that there is greater awareness or engagement, even if it's through a committee level earlier in the process. Because I remember hearing some concern from MML staff that they are trying to manage relationships when things are in draft development and being very careful about that. At the same time, I think they've all seen it's not productive when you don't have engagement earlier. So does this mean that it's going to be incumbent upon, for example, the MML members who are part of the legislative committee to be more attuned to when something might require like a special sub-working committee to pull in more municipal voices? Or what are the changes that might come about to ensure participation while still balancing what MML is trying to balance?
I know about allowing more people to listen in on the legislative committee. So even if you're not serving on it, you could, but they go through hundreds of bills. So maybe being on there at the right time, at the right place. But I knew we're very fortunate that the Chevy Chase Village town manager is very involved with it. And so she tries to bring this stuff to our attention as quickly as possible. So, but Connor, what are your thoughts on that?
I'd like to defer. I see Sue Ellen's hand up.
Oh, okay. Sue Ellen?
I think that a couple of things came out during this process, which was kind of rough and tumble there for a bit. And I think MML was feeling defensive.
Yes.
And the people had to really push to be allowed to attend and just listen to the legislative committee meeting. But what I know back channel is that, the legislative committee only sees things when they're brought by staff. And there are a lot of things that are brought to them, and they aren't necessarily highlighting what maybe everyone else thinks should be highlighted. I think what I was hoping for in terms of making them pay more attention to this was that they don't have the subject matter knowledge that you do about local zoning. They just don't. And neither did the state. DHCD didn't have it either. So they proposed things that were somewhat ridiculous. So I'm hoping that what they get from this is when they see something like this coming again, they contact folks who have the real subject matter knowledge about local zoning to help them understand what's being put forward. That's what had to happen this last time. The local governments had to get together, figure it out, and tell them these are the problems. And so it would be unfortunate if that had to happen from the ground up again, as it did this last time. So I'm just, that's what I think about what the real lack was. I understand the necessity for them to be able to be in the room and listen to people like from DHCD and not be really totally aggressive or pushing back or even knowing really what was going to be happening with it. But they should have been reaching out to get more background information about what this would really mean on the ground. And that's where I saw it as being a problem. They didn't.
Yeah, to echo what Sue Ellen said, I think part of what we were trying to get across to them is we understand that you are in the room, just like Sue Ellen said, that you're not being aggressive. You're there to be part of the conversation as things are just beginning to form. And we understand it's a delicate process. This is all very much before the legislative session. The bill hasn't even been drafted, but you're in the room. We just want to know that the room exists. We want to know that there is a room, that MML is in it, so that our municipalities can, to Sue Ellen's point, float up like, hey, maybe, right? Like, we need more details about how zoning should work because it's a very sensitive thing. I mean, and to your point, some other things, right? There are certainly municipalities across the state acknowledged by the director that were completely supportive of the Starter and Silver Homes Act. We were not. Many other municipalities that we were working with certainly were not. But, acknowledge that there were some, and MML represents all municipalities and was working to balance, multiple viewpoints. To Sue Ellen's point, when we all finally saw the language of the bill, it was extremely problematic. I'm just trying to be diplomatic. I mean, the fact that it had 28 amendments within a week's time, they were willing to accept 14, to me says this bill was only half thought of when it was drafted and submitted. Like this is something that needed a charrette or a working group or a planning session over the course of a year. I know there are a lot of bills that are like, hey, we're just going to put together a committee and then report out in a year. This would have been a topic that I think would have been very well suited for that kind of bill. But instead they forced a land use bill. Unfortunately, it did not get out of committee, but oft times, right, bills that don't get out find a way to come back the next year. So this is a good reminder to be engaged. And your question was what else came of it? I mean, the director did say one of the things that did come out of this rough and tumble process is you do not need to be on the legislative committee to be in attendance at the legislative committee. If the doors are open, come. If you're interested, if your municipality is interested, come and be an observer so that you are getting the information firsthand as it is happening. Now, that is only once bills are submitted and given to the committee. And obviously, a lot of the consternation we have is what happened prior to the bill. But it is a good reminder if we have the bandwidth. The other thing that we really pushed for, both in our letters and in our communication, our conversation with the director and her staff was, as the mayor said, hey, this is a part-time job for all of us. And as such, we are pulled in a number of directions. We have professional staff who are very qualified, who handle these issues, who can be tracking and engaging on this, as part of their daily profession. Please engage professional staff across municipalities more purposefully. So there was an acknowledgement that, that could be improved. So, Matt, we won't stop pushing. I wouldn't go so far as to say you might end up on a committee, but we won't stop pushing.
Okay, anything else, Connor?
Well, yeah, since I get to go first, I get to take the good one. The ice cream social on Monday.
Big
Man, it was just one of those things that just made you happy to live in the town. It was great to see neighbors, catch up with people. And I got to be honest, this is the part of the job, the like kissing babies job, where like you're giving out ice cream. This was wonderful, and you missed out. It was awesome. We had our new cooler. So Matt, it was wonderful. It worked great. The wheels were perfect. It rolled over easy. It hooked up easy. Between staff and Tracy, like you guys nailed the ice cream bar count. And it just opens up other opportunities to do that. But I will say what was more interesting, just some people at the park with their kids who came up and were like, hey, how much does it cost? And we were like, no, it's free. And they weren't resident, and they're just like, we don't get it. Why? What's the trick? Why are you giving out ice cream? And we explained the election. We're just like, it was just something we wanted to do, something nice to bring neighbors together and, hand out ice cream. And, you could just see the smile of like, this is a special place, right? They didn't expect it. They just were at the park with their kids at the playground, maybe playing ball, and came over and got some ice cream. So I love that people stayed and people talked. Joe Campbell, thank you. John Gerson, thank you. Our state delegates and senator who came and just hung out. And it was exactly what we envisioned it to be. To the mayor for bringing the weather, thank you. So it was wonderful.
Well,
I hope we continue to do it.
The real key to making it work is checking the electricity prior to the event to make sure that it was turned on, because it wasn't. So that was a big a positive to make sure do the test first a few hours before the event. That was very important. So, but no, it was a great time, and the location was perfect. Further away for some, but it just something about St. Paul Park just brings everybody in, and it was really a very, very nice event. So
yeah, it was really nice. I was going to say, lesson for next year: more drumsticks. I think they went the quickest.
Okay,
There's a lot of nostalgia. I didn't realize how much nostalgia was rolled up in the drumstick.
Yeah, I mean, I would have liked the Choco Taco or an ice cream, those cookie sandwiches. But hey, we had a lot of variety. People were like, "What do you have?"
Chipwich. The Chipwich.
There were like Chipwiches. There were 7 different kinds of ice cream that they got.
Yeah, we did have the Klondikes. That was definitely important. So,
yep.
Well
done.
Okay. Anything else, Connor? You good? All right. Let's go with Stuart.
Thanks, Mayor. Quick update from me. PBAS met end of May, right before Memorial Day weekend. We did get a quick readout, early readout from Nigel and the Walker consultant team. They actually came to the PBAS to kind of solicit feedback from that group on safety and walkability and how parking impacts that. So they shared some preliminary data, not something I'm prepared to share because I don't know where they are in their overall study completion or build, but it looks promising. They were out there, they were gathering data, they had an opportunity to engage with the members of PBAS and had some good questions and got some good feedback. So overall, I think it went really well. I think the Walker consultants have done a really nice job for the two committee sessions that I've been a part of. I look forward to reading their report. I don't know if staff has seen a draft yet. Maybe y'all can. No, okay. All right, so that's good. So we're still kind of waiting for that. So that's a readout on that, and then I have reached out this for the rest of the town staff. I think y'all are on this email, but just in case you're not tracking it, I did reach back out to SHA to schedule our next quarterly meeting. I've not heard back from them, but I'm aiming for the week of July 29th. I'm sorry, correction. June 29th or July 13th. Those are the 2 weeks I floated, and they said they'd get back to me with any updates for the next update with SHA. So let y'all know if that comes in, and I'll make sure to loop in the town staff so we can make sure we approach that meeting with the diligence that we have always done.
Well, I know Derek at least replied, so he did your email, which is good.
It's a good sign. Sign.
Okay, great. Nate?
No, just a quick question, Stuart. When we were in that meeting, do you remember who raised the point. Was it maybe it was Marla, and talked about the quick build project. So apparently we're in the queue for officially on the website for SHA for a quick build project around the peanut concept. I don't know, Matt, if you were aware of that, and if not, it probably is worth talking with SHA because it's on the website. We talked about it in theory, but then now it's like on there. So it would be good to get a little more info before the meeting at the very least.
Indeed. We did talk about that. And my notes don't say who raised it, but yeah, it's a good flag. Matt, I can loop you into the notes from the meeting and then we'll have captured what we actually talked about so we can go
I
back.
I have them. I do have them. So yep.
Great.
Okay. No, I don't have any updates. I actually only have a public service announcement. So this is a fun time where my like professional life gets to intersect with council. We are in a drought watch, in case you aren't aware. It was declared yesterday by the Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments. So that's the second stage of drought. It's basically voluntary curtailment or reduction of water use measures in indoor and outdoor use. So there's nothing being required. It's just to get the word out to start conserving. It's been a really, really dry year, obviously, and the Potomac River is at one of the lowest points it's been in history. It's the main source of our water here, and most of Montgomery County and Washington, D.C. area. So there are a bunch of things you can do to reduce water. I won't go all into it, but maybe if it gets worse, I will lecture everybody about what can be done. But the next stage, if we were to enter it, is called a drought warning, which is voluntary restrictions. So you kind of like implement restrictions on institutions voluntarily. They do it. And then the next one would be a drought emergency where mandatory water restrictions could be issued. This is the first time we've really been in this situation more or less since the reason that we have a drought response plan in the first place, which was like 2 decades ago, when late 90s, early 2000s, when there was a really severe drought that triggered a lot of the drought mitigation measures and the backup reservoirs and everything. So we're not in a situation where we're going to run out of water immediately, but it's good to start conserving.
Did the rain we had for like 4 days of straight rain that didn't even make a dent?
Didn't make a dent, which is deceiving because everyone's probably like, "Oh, there's so much rain," and we're going to talk about flooding, which just happened in a couple of minutes. And no, it did not make a dent just because of the lack of rain, and it was the hottest. I think it was one of the hottest years on record between January and now,
Right.
On average. So it's been warm and not a lot of rain.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Nate.
Yeah,
just
my
'cause
understanding,
now,
it's been like 3 years that we've had lower. We've
Yes,
been on the verge of drought.
yeah, exactly. It's been a long time deficit.
if you are tracking all of this, Nate, and I'm reading about this super El Nino coming later in the summer, that's temperatures, but is it going to bring significant rain events? Because to your point and to Anne's point, my concern is we're really low on rain, which means really hard compacted soil, which means a lot of runoff water, which we will talk about with Ann Banville's property.
Yeah, it's a great question. And you're going to catch me. I did not do my research on North America. I know how El Nino hits the West Coast with a lot of rain, but it actually manifests differently in different places. So I work on drought around the world, and it's like Southern Africa in particular gets a lot of drought during El Nino. But other Eastern Africa is like really wet. So I'm not actually sure what the signal is here. I think it may be a kind of on the line, but you're right. It could exacerbate the drought, or if it's flooding, it can compound the impacts because of the dry soils and everything. So we just actually wrote a briefing for like global drought watch for El Nino, but I didn't look at North America. I'll get back to you on that, but it's a really good point because it will likely be 95% confidence it's going to be El Nino, and then probably pretty strong, but we're not sure yet how strong. But it could be a super El Nino.
Okay. Anne?
Thanks. I'm just still thinking about what Nate shared. I'm wondering if, at a minimum, we should send out WSSC or the Council of Governments recommendations for the watch phase on the town listserv, but maybe we
Yeah,
incorporate
that's a good idea. I can do
something
it.
into an upcoming blast as well. Yeah, if you can do the listserv and then whenever we're going to schedule the next e-blast, we could incorporate some info.
I would forward it to Carrie Ann, and she'll just say, please include on the next e-blast.
Sounds good. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
All right. So just a few things. Yes, on the parking task force, I believe they are, Stuart, you and I haven't had a chance to talk, but based on looks like the email that they are crunching their data and delivering that soon to town staff. The next milestone, we need to schedule the stakeholder meetings now that they've met with the first two stakeholders, the parking task force and the PBAS. We've been working on a list of different business owners, congregation and school representatives. So that's what I want to try to figure out and get on the books sooner rather than later. So look for an email from me, Stuart and Matt and Alex to try to sort out some options for that. On the event front, I know others will talk about this weekend, so I just want to remind you that the fun never stops in Kensington because on June 13th, we're going to have Juneteenth. It's our 5th annual Juneteenth at St. Paul Park from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. And because it coincides with celebrating the 250th anniversary for the U.S., there will be lots of extra historical tie-ins. One of the things that I want to make sure people know about is an art exhibition. Last year there was an art exhibition at Compass. This year St. Paul Church has opened its doors, and there will be an Echoes of Freedom art exhibition that goes up there and is available for viewing Tuesday evenings 5 to 7, Sundays 12 to 2, and I think also during the weekday and the lunch time frame. So I want to make sure people know about that because there'll be great local art to see.
Yeah,
and
it's already up, so it'll be ready on Sunday.
Great.
On Sunday.
Excellent. And then related to that, we're still looking for volunteers. For people that receive the town, who are on the town listserv, the neighborhood listserv, a link went out where you can sign up to volunteer, including Teenagers for SSL hours. So please do that. And I think that's all I have for now. Oh, one other, go ahead.
No, I was just going to mention Ernest Memorial if you wanted to give any updates on that.
Oh, well, whatever the latest is, Matt and Alex, I know I watch it when I walk by. I don't know if you have a date for when they will install.
So we are waiting for the flagpole installation. Everything else has been ordered and received. We have the lighting. We're about to order the pavers. We're just waiting for the flag installation. We're concerned that putting it in with the equipment might damage the other stuff. So we're just waiting for that installation first. Hopefully soon, very, very soon. So
okay. And
the electric, is that what you said you were waiting on?
Or the installation of the flagpoles, the physical flagpoles.
Oh, okay.
We're concerned that the equipment may damage the pathway and the lighting, so we're waiting to install everything after that. So,
okay. Sorry.
And then my other question would be, now that it's getting warmer, we're in drought territory, does this mean we won't do the rest of the planting installations till the fall?
Lisa had told me that they could be planted a little bit after Labor Day. I don't know how I actually should probably reach back out to her because she said it could be a little bit later, but I'm not sure how late, like what the latest is.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we can follow up on that. I just assume it would be pushed back. Okay. And then that's all for my report, but Mayor Tracy, I wondered, we had discussed the possibility of having some signage put up for the July 4th Declaration of Independence excerpts or something. And I'm wondering if you all ever pursued that idea, if there've just been too many things going on.
There've been too many things going on, and quite honestly, what's going on the federal level, I just have got discouraged and just decided, we're just going to have our nice 4th of July bike parade, and that's how we're going to celebrate. The ladies I was working with were, it's just things, especially when they threw away the Supreme Court and everything else. It just felt like just couldn't get it together. So
Yeah, it's a
we're not.
lot. I will not be here, sadly, on the 4th of July. I will say I was just in Denver for work, and our event was at the History Museum there, and they were hosting one of the original stone engravings of the Declaration of Independence. And there was a long line of people to look at it with kids, even after hours. And it was very inspiring to engage with like the original text. And so even if we're not doing, banners or displays, maybe some way to support reading excerpts of it or handing something out to the kids. And even though I'm not here, I'd be happy to help brainstorm about that.
I think we can certainly hand something out to the kids. I think that would be nice. Besides ice cream,
Yeah.
So, or popsicles. So yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you. So I just have a couple of things. I have been attending multiple meetings and with the county and state, and it's something that we just need to keep on the front burner, especially when we're working on our next budget. The state may be cutting down or clipping away our highway user funds that we receive from the state. That's something that may happen. And the tax duplication that we receive from Montgomery County. It's not as easy because that's actually in law. That's a written law that they have to provide us with these the tax duplication funding. So, but it's something that I know the chapter, the MML chapter, is definitely going to pay attention and to bring up earlier because of the change, the number of new people that will be on the council next year. And that's important that they know that this is not just handing us money. This is something that's written in law, but it's also, you're not taking care of it, we are. And we pay taxes to you. So anyway, so they're just keeping that on the front burner to make sure they're following up on it. It's especially difficult for the 4 municipalities that have police, because that's they're being asked to do more for less, and so that's a really important thing for them as well. Just want to recognize that the Howard Avenue got a big cleanup. The along Howard Avenue, the stores, they got repainted. They had washed all their windows. They are ready for the Maryland House and Garden pilgrimage on Sunday, and they're very excited about the fact that they are participating in the event. And I'm glad. It's been a really nice to see everybody, so many people involved with this, and I encourage everybody to go buy a ticket and to visit Nate's house and no, it's going to be a great event. And I know we need rain, but if it'll just wait till after 5 o'clock, that'd be great. So, but yeah, it's going to be a really, really nice event. And I know, and then lastly, staff hopes to be back in the offices probably mid-June, maybe the 3rd week, but definitely in June. We're waiting. What are we waiting on? Doors? Is that right, Matt?
Yeah, so the final inspection has been scheduled for June 25th. We're waiting for the doors, which are scheduled to be delivered June 10th. They'll have to do the shoe molding, final paint a coat. We'll have to put in the glass in the reception area, and then clean up.
Yeah,
So we're almost there.
July 4th, they should be back upstairs, which I know they're looking forward to. So anyway. Okay, does anybody have in the audience have any questions regarding the reports? Joe?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just a quick procedural question for Council Member Lecter about the upcoming stakeholder meetings with the Walker Consultants. Will the parking task force members be notified in advance of these meetings and invited to attend if they want to sit in on them?
Yes, I think that's a good idea. Right now, it's just figuring out when they can be held, and I'd like to give business owners or community, if the congregation or the schools, ideally like 10 to 14 days notice so they can arrange their schedules. So we'll do the same as we zero in on the dates to let the parking task force know.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, let's, what time is it? It's 7:51. Let's go ahead and do public appearances. It's the opportunity to bring up anything you would like to talk about that is not already on the agenda. Joe?
You surprised me a little bit there, Mayor, but thank you. I was wondering if there's any updates about the drawing that was planned for the old street signs in town. Maybe I've missed this, but I do know that the replaced street signs were supposed to be not auctioned off, but there was going to be a drawing.
Actually, that's a good question because I know I put in for one and I don't.
That's my fault. There was a brief pause while I was on vacation, and it'll be soon. I'm going to email everyone to notify them, everyone who entered the drawing. Hopefully, after we get through the Home and Garden Tour in Juneteenth, that's my goal.
So the drawing hasn't happened yet, though.
No, not
Okay.
yet. That's my fault. Sorry.
So hope remains alive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
We might be doing 2 drawings because I don't think we haven't been overwhelmed by the number of people as far as I know.
I think there's more signs than there are applicants. So
Okay, so you might get one, Joe. You might have.
yeah, your odds are pretty
Joe,
good.
you're gonna be lucky twice, I guess, since you won the compost bin raffle also.
That's right. And it just keeps on going. But there's only like one little street that I'm interested in.
Yeah, I know. But
I'd
if
auction
nobody
it
else
off.
did it, you're in good shape. You've got at least 2 signs for if that's the one you're looking, your own street. So
That's right.
Joe's going for St. Paul Street. I know it.
You keep your hands off.
Yeah, there's a governor who's interested in that one, I think.
okay. There's plenty of St. Paul's. There's a lot of them.
As long as we don't see it on eBay in like 2 months.
Right next to my Nationals, bad to be a hot dog hat.
Yeah. Well, the first thing you're going to need to do is clean them because there's a lot of green, especially for the ones that were under a tree. So they just need a little polishing.
Well, they were kind of green to start with, as I remember.
Now the letters have gotten just
Greener.
Yeah. Well, mildew. So just green mildew.
And a second question, and this might be raised by the town manager later, but I was just wondering what updates there are about striping on the new crosswalk at the southernmost part of Kensington Parkway in town. I've seen indications recently that there's movement towards this long-awaited striping of that new crosswalk. Any updates on that?
So the preliminary markings have been posted. St. Paul has been paved along with McComas, Decatur, and Madison. So we're just waiting for the striping contractor to give us a schedule date. I don't have that yet. It will happen probably before our next meeting on July 15th.
So now it might be July. Okay. Well, as I've said in the past, it's a potential hazard. If people see that sign there and then try to cross it without the striping, it can be a potential problem for them.
All right. Anyone else? Seeing any additional hands? So let's go ahead and move on to ordinance resolutions and regulations. Oh, Matt, did you or Susan or Alex have any additional reports you wanted to give?
Just resolutions, Mayor.
Okay, go ahead.
Council, before this evening is resolution number R-09-2026, a resolution of the mayor and town council of Kensington authorizing a contract agreement with Brutus and Associates Incorporated to provide engineering and support services for drainage analysis and storm drain design within the area of Kensington Parkway and Frederick Avenue. There was a video sent to the mayor and council within the council packet that shows the rear property line of Miss Banville's. It's an older video. From a larger storm that we had. So this is not a new issue. It just kind of got moved up now that we've gotten past Hadley and St. Paul. And also due to the potential redevelopment of the Plank property, it gives us an opportunity to have the developer to install the necessary infrastructure to what is proposed with the storm drain inlets on Frederick Avenue. So we kind of wanted to bump this up a little bit, get the analysis so we can work with Mr. Plank on the storm drain. You saw the preliminary, they're proposing some swales. We are not necessarily in favor of the swales. We want some piping into the inlet once we get there. But this report would provide a design guidelines.
Council, any questions? Go ahead, Nate.
Why are we not in favor of swales? It's the only kind of natural solution that is proposed, and everything else is this gray hard infrastructure that we keep on honestly playing whack-a-mole. We just replaced some of the stormwater network on both sides of Kensington Parkway. We're dealing with Silver Creek, which we know now is going to have a engineered flood challenge because we know that it's not going to be a sufficient solution. I'm just concerned that we're really trying to play whack-a-mole. We're not studying this issue in a comprehensive way. I'd like for us to do a study that considers how we bring that water once and for all into Cabin Park. So I'm curious why you don't like the bioswale issue or potential solution. And I'm also concerned where the water is going to be channeled to, probably Silver Creek, right? So
So it's
I
already
think we're
so
just
it's already
exacerbating the problems.
so it's already going in the Silver Creek. There's a 15-inch pipe that's draining into that. It's not large enough. If you notice from the drainage analysis, there's over 6 acres worth of water going into that 15-inch pipe. They're proposing a 24-inch pipe. In talking with Anchor, who's our primary engineer with Brutus, they were suggesting piping into the inlet as opposed to the swale. The drawing was just on the initial evaluation when they met with Miss Banville and walked the property line. But we think that it would go better directly into the storm drain with the piping system. I will say I'm not getting too hard ahead of this project. This project will probably realign the road to bring us up to standards. It's about 22 to 23 foot wide road now. We'd go to 26 feet and put a sidewalk on the what would be the south side of Frederick Avenue, at least up to where we're proposing the storm drain is. So
Yeah, thanks, Matt. But it's not really answering my question why I feel like every time I bring this up, Brutus, the solution, I'm surprised that they even propose swales, to be honest, but it seems like every time that we're working with them, it's 10-year design flood, because that's what the state says for the river or the creek. I push back and say we should look at least 15 or 20. And then we talk all the time about engineered solution. That's some sort of nature-based solution with the park. And they keep on proposing the same type of thing. Why don't we get a bid from someone else, or at least talk to another firm that is specialized in this kind of stuff? Because after doing a little research, it doesn't seem like they do this kind of work. So maybe they just don't have it in their wheelhouse to propose. I don't want to presume that necessarily, but there's a lot of other companies that do this kind of work in a way that is a little more creative, to be honest, and a little more innovative, which I'd like us to explore, because there's these pockets all over that area that we're just, again, playing whack-a-mole with.
So we have proposed solutions with Kensington Parkway and the park. I mean, we've been pushed back. I mean, they won't allow us to do anything in the parkland. Brutus came up with a design. They wouldn't even talk to us about it. We had a pond. They said no. We tried to do a subgrade containment system. They said no. This is what we're left with. I mean,
Yeah,
we can
yeah.
talk with parks more, but we're kind of in a situation where we need their land to flood, and they're not willing to talk and walk and talk with us. So, I mean, it's not like Brutus isn't trying to make solutions. I mean, I'm not gonna. I mean, they can defend themselves, but I mean, we had a solution 5 years ago, and parks won't even talk to us. They're not willing to give up their parkland because it's revenue for them. We talked about a subgrade containment system, and they said no because they might want to put a structure on the park.
That was the reason they didn't want to.
Yep.
They don't want to consider because they're going to build something.
Yep, that's what they told us. So they said no for a pond because they wouldn't lose revenues. They said no for a sub-containment system because they said they might want to put a structure on the park someday.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think I remember. Now my memory's being refreshed. I think at that point we said this might be a point where we need to bring in some of our county council members, some of our state legislators, to get into the conversation too, to support us. I mean, is that what we should be doing now?
Well, you'd go to the county council or county executive, the new county executive, and see if you could get support for it. But I mean, the only thing from the state would be, money to help, make it happen.
I think the state has to be on board too, no, Matt, because of the
Well,
water
probably
rights.
The waterway.
Yeah, the waterway. But still, I'm just thinking you've got to get the council first to decide to allow us to do anything with the land.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point of the bypass on Hadley Place was to create essentially a containment system upstream. I mean, we created a containment upstream because we couldn't do what we wanted to in the park. I mean, we even walked with Parks engineering team, and I mean, they suggested some different kind of like bio ponds in different areas, very small ones. It's not something that we felt was going to really be beneficial to us. There was one on Warner Mansion they recommended. Anything upstream. That's why we went to St. Paul. I mean, St. Paul gave us an opportunity to get the water off Kensington Heights Park. It addressed some of the issues on the 10800 block. It's why we're trying to acquire 10800 St. Paul. It's why we're trying to acquire the HOA property. Everything we can do upstream, whether it's a containment system through our own storm drain network, pond opportunities. I mean, I completely hear you, Nate. It's just the pushback we're getting. It's either we do nothing or we try to do something.
Yeah,
And that's kind of the position staff's taking. So
yeah, no, I hear you. And thanks for reminding me about that previous analysis, because I remember now that conversation was soon after I got on the council. So my frustration is probably misplaced with Brutus, but they're the ones that are doing the design over the last couple of years for all these solutions. So I mean, I think the times have changed. I think we're now in a situation where climate change has gotten worse. We're seeing more stormwater problems. I mean, if I have the green light to go ahead and try to do a little lobbying, if you could equip me with those plans that we had from 5 years ago, just to even show like what some of those possible solutions are, and I'm happy to go talk to the new executive or rally some support with it.
yeah, I mean,
council.
this proposal from Brutus for this evening, I mean, doesn't solve the problem, obviously. I mean, we still have downstream issues. We still have everything that's going into the network. We still need a solution, and Kensington Cabin Park is still that solution. And, it's just a conversation that really it's a political conversation for the mayor and council.
Yeah, you're right. I think it is. And it's stream restoration probably too, to help restore Silver Creek. So it's a big project, but I think it's one that's going to, in the end, be a much more economical solution. So anyway, I see Anne has her hand up, but I was hoping to get some feedback on whether that makes sense to go and do some lobbying of our county officials.
And
I mean, I support that. Obviously, you have to wait till election season.
Yeah.
Nate, I support it as well. I am frustrated. Not as much as you, because I know this is your professional life as well, but I'm frustrated with counties' refusal to engage in a conversation over Kensington Cabin Park and how it might be used. And I wonder if, as you're thinking about how to engage the county, and we continue to look downstream, literally down Silver Creek, because there are other county assets, Silver Creek Middle School and other things, like we're trying to find ways to mitigate stormwater runoff and flooding at a logical place. And if we don't use this, where does the water go when it leaves Kensington? And what else is at risk?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Anne, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I had a few questions. So just to make sure I understand, what essentially they're proposing to do is a design with more analysis, but to flesh out the concept that we see in the materials tonight. And so the cost estimate here is just for the design phase. Do you have any sense of what the cost range might be for the solutions that are spec'd out in this initial proposal?
At this point, we wouldn't have any idea. There's no test pits done. We don't know if we need to move any utilities. This is, like I said, this is a little ahead of where we we have been. I mean, it's something that we were aware of, especially with talking with Ms. Banville. The reason for bringing this tonight is I want to be able to put a condition on the Plank property to make the improvements. And I can't do that until I have a design. This doesn't mean that we're ready to move forward even in the next 12 or 18 months on this project, but the conditions will be put on the Plank property that they will have to meet our requirements. So it's ready to go when we do put in assuming it's going to be 5 storm drain inlets, or whatever it ends up being based on their analysis. We can have them put it in so we don't have to put in and take the expense. I will make a note, on the subdivision of the Plank property, we did request and receive a 10-foot public utility improvement. So we have the room for a sidewalk and a 5-foot tree box. Most of the right of way on Frederick Avenue is on the north side. If we are to expand the road to 26 feet, which is Montgomery County standard, it would require realigning the street on the north side. It's a huge project. This isn't something we've really talked about before. I'm not saying this is going to happen anytime soon. It's just, it gives us the plan if the town ever moves in that direction, and then the infrastructure will be at the base of the street where Silver Creek is. So,
Yeah, well, that's helpful because that was going to be my other question, was how this related to the Plank development. So to me, that is very important to get this analysis done, because I know residents in that area are very concerned given past flooding, which leads me to my, I think, final question, which is, I know you've been talking with Miss Banville, obviously, but have we shared or been in touch with any of the other neighbors that are, right up along the Plank property, but also just looking at where some of the proposed design and study will need to be done along Frederick Avenue and even Kensington
not
Park?
yet. We met with Miss Plank on site just to get the initial evaluation. We were on Mr. Plank's property as well. If we move forward, obviously we'll need to speak with the Kritzes, the rest of the residents along it's 10,000
Frederick.
Kensington Parkway.
Yeah.
That is a floodplain in the front plains, going down to Littledale. There is the natural county floodplain is basically the front yards going down the street. So most of the residents should be aware of the flood implications in that area, I hope, at this
Yeah,
point.
I just think engaging them sooner to let them know that we're proposing to do this study. These are the types of things that are going to be looked at, and then making sure that we have a way to get their input when we are evaluating options. I think we pursue parallel paths where we're doing this work and we're doing whatever we can on the political front.
Yeah, if we move forward, we'll definitely they'll have to be on site in each property, so they'll get formal contact information from Alex and I, and then the Brutus team would be on site. They'll most likely have to be in the rear property, so they'll probably need to let in through fences. So there will be communication. So.
Okay. And also maybe when we're done with this discussion, if you could share an update on the sewage line replacement. I know there's been some email traffic on that, but I think it'd be good for folks to know the latest.
Have the owners of the Plank property seen this proposal, Matt? Are they aware that this is being discussed?
No, we have not talked with Stuart. They are aware that there's flooding issues. They have not applied for the permit yet. We're going to need to talk to them. Cass Engineering is their engineering team, who we have a pretty good working relationship with. It may change what they had been proposing housing wise, which is something that has me a little concerned. And we're definitely going to have to work with their engineering team over at Cass. So.
Okay. Do you have assuming the council is comfortable with this going forward, do you have like a timeline, and when do you think you would engage them? Is that something I worry about, there's a lot, obviously building is complex and there's usually money behind plans and stuff.
It would be this week. So, yeah.
This week, you have 1 day left in this week. Any other questions from the council? I don't see any hands. Any questions from the audience? Joe?
Thank you, Mayor. I was wondering if the town manager could refresh our collective memory as to how many separate contracts Brutus has with the town of Kensington. Can you
I
tell
don't
me?
know the exact number. Um, we awarded them a bid contract in 2022 or 23, I can't remember, and we've been carrying those contracts forward since.
And this one is a no bid contract, or the work is not bidded, right, on this proposed project.
Correct, yes.
Will the proposed work in any way complicate or interfere with the WSSC's on again, off again work in this area of the town? Their sewer restoration project, and then the stream restoration work.
So there's no work actually proposed, at least not infrastructure wise with this. This is an analysis and a design. They'll have to evaluate the existing infrastructure, what WSSC's plans are with the current sewer line, their plan to move it to the opposite side of the street in the next 2 to 3 years. We'll have to do a number of test pits, determine where the existing locations are, make sure they're correct, and then they'll be able to put together a design to make sure, most importantly, is can we even fit a storm drain in the location?
Okay, thank you. And do you or the mayor have any updated information about the stream restoration work on Silver Creek? This was a question I raised last month at last month's meeting. Do we have any idea about when this will be addressed or concluded?
Are you talking about the pipes, or are you
WSSC's stream restoration work. That's part of their broader project in this part of town.
that I don't know. They discovered some additional pipes that needed to be
Right.
realigned.
Right.
So that should be, they are working on it. They have to be made. And then the contractor will hopefully get them in the next, I think in July was the last, sometime in July.
I see. Okay. And, I think Councilmember Engel raised a very good point that, the county officials, county office holders can be, this can be brought to their attention. I think if the parks aren't being cooperative, if they're refusing to speak with the town, then why not ask county council members to bring a little pressure to bear? I think that's a very good idea, and I hope I paraphrased what he was proposing accurately.
I think having, I don't know who's going to be the new county executive, but I think new leadership would be helpful. Mark was not as open to some of our suggestions. We were specifically looking at Warner Mansion at the time, the Warner Mansion Park or Warner Circle. So, but this would be an additional. So we'll see what we get in January, and we'll, I think starting with the county executive and then moving down to the county council would be something that we'll do next year.
Right. Thank you, Mayor. The county executive, the new one, might be somebody who used to represent parts of Kensington. So
You never know.
never know. You're right.
Never
The
know.
democratic process, the democratic way. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Okay. Do we have any other questions? Do we want to make a motion?
Matt, what is the timeline for the work?
I believe it was supposed to be completed by October. There was a timeline schedule in the proposal.
Yeah, that's what I'm going back to. Look at.
It is final approval is October 30th, 2026.
I don't know what is publicly available on the Plank property. So you'll reach out to the Plank property this week, just to make them aware. There's obviously thoughts of redevelopment at that property, which is multiple parcels. Do we know of a timeline for that project at all and how it
We don't.
dovetails with this?
We don't. Just for council's information, because I don't think they're aware of the redevelopment project. They have subdivided the lot, which has been approved, and the town approved as well, based on the one condition we had was the 10-foot public utility improvement, which was agreed upon. They're going to make two lots. There is a site plan for the two homes. There is no file application for the town or the county at this time, which gives us an opportunity to make the changes with Mr. Plank and Cast Engineering at this point, which is something, one of the reasons, the main reasons why I brought this up now. So it gives us the time. They have not filed anything.
To that point, so they've subdivided down the center property line. Okay. The 10-foot setback, the 10-foot that you talked about, is that at the street right of way, or is that in between the property line and or along, trying to think, the western property line backing up to Miss Banville's property?
It's inside the property line where the private property line meets the existing right of way. So there's an additional 10 feet we have to work with.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure if you're looking at MC Atlas right now.
I'm looking at MC Atlas, yeah.
Yeah, so if you're the yellow line, 10 feet south of the yellow line. Yeah.
All right, so we're just moving into the property on both parcels?
Correct, both parcels. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I know I mentioned a lot of infrastructure improvements. Like I said, this is not something that the town has ever talked about. It's not something that's really on our radar for the next year or even two. But what it does is it allows us, when we do go in there in the future and we want to put in a sidewalk and trees, we have the room to do it. And then we'll have the design phase for the infrastructure with regards to the storm drain inlets. And anything, that 15-inch pipe needs to be increased to at least 24 inches. So,
Anne, did you have another thought?
Yeah, I just realized I forgot to ask about the language in Brutus's write-up about the potential for a need with a maintenance agreement with property owners for the town to take on management of any inlets or anything. And so I just want to confirm that what's anticipated there is that the town incurs those expenses going forward, or what's the nature of the maintenance agreement? If I'm thinking about it from the perspective of the residents, not knowing
so
this is coming.
If it ends up being what we refer to as a yard inlet, we would install it, and then an agreement would be put together where we'd have to talk to Sue Ellen whether we want the property owner to maintain it or not. It may be in the best interest of the town to maintain it because the property owner may not. At least that's been our experience, but Sue Ellen has much more experience with those than I do. I think that's what they're referring to with that language. So.
Okay, I guess, yeah, obviously that'll have to be sorted out later. I guess for me, it raises again the importance of letting the neighbors know this is underway around the same time that you're letting Plank know. You don't have to let everybody know tomorrow. Like, I understand you need to communicate with Plank, but I think it's important to let the other neighbors along Frederick and Kensington Parkway in the immediately affected area know that this plan is moving forward.
So based on that, back to your question, Mayor, this work is necessary to be able to take any next steps as far as solution planning. So with that, I would move that we approve resolution number R-09-2026.
Can I make a point of order?
Has his hand up. Stuart, did you want to have a follow-up?
Yes, before we make a resolution, I'm looking at the town, and this is for the town attorney to weigh in, and if we need to take this offline, I'm happy to do that. Section 2-402 of the Kensington Town Ordinance requires bids of more than $30,000 in value to be purchased by means of a competitive bid process. given that this is $58,000 in value, I'd wonder if the town attorney has a position on whether this needs to be competitively bid or not.
You can override that. And I assume that's what you're being asked to do tonight.
Yeah, we're requesting an extra majority vote. It requires to proceed for a professional contract exceeding $30,000. Extra majority council can approve it.
Did you get
I'd
your
just like to be on the record for saying if we're successful on the political route, getting some support preliminarily from county council and the future executive for some other potential solution using Cabin Park, I would like to see the design phase bid out because I think there are other firms that I'd like to see a variety of different solutions proposed. So I just want to be on the record for that. Thanks.
And in terms of a contract with Brutus, the town retains its right to terminate the contract whenever it's best for the town. So you can enter into the contract and then just say hold if that's what you decide to do, or proceed, or stop somewhere, in the middle. That's up to you.
It seems to me that the urgency is not, and this is for the town manager. Just if you could describe the urgency again from your words that I've heard earlier. This is not something that's immediately required, but it is something that you would like to have the town council's approval on so that you could have flexibility in the future. Is that fair characterization of what you've mentioned this evening?
With regards to actual infrastructure improvements. So the design, it's not something that we're rushing into, but what it does is it gives us a design to work off so we can have that for the Plank property redevelopment. And then we can, if it's a smaller project, the design, and we're only installing 5 storm drain inlets within, a 200-foot radius, it's a project that we could probably fit into the CIP, in the next year or two. If it becomes a much larger project, no, I mean, we are not in a position that we are going to do a streetscape along Frederick right now. We're not going to expand the street. We can't run the sidewalk the whole way up. It's kind of what we're looking at right now is a very focused area right at Kensington Parkway Access Road and Frederick Avenue, increasing at least based on what they're proposing, increasing the pipe size from 15 to 24, adding probably roughly 5 storm drain inlets, and then creating a solution for the Plank property redevelopment to help get some of that water that's draining into the back of Miss Banville's property out to the street into the storm drain inlets that they're proposing.
So Matt, based on that, let me just, dig into the Plank property. Without this, without some sort of design, if we did not move forward and the Plank property continues to move forward with any plans they have for redevelopment, what would be the stormwater management requirements placed on the Plank property? What could we do and what could we not do without some sort of design?
So they would just follow Montgomery County's standard stormwater management for it. They'd have some dry pits put around the property, basically anything that we're seeing now on the north side of town or anywhere else where there's a larger development. This gives them an opportunity to put in the necessary infrastructure now on the design phase on their end. Otherwise, they build the houses and we're going in and getting MOUs and trying to get easements and access to the property afterwards.
Right. So right now, without any sort of design to help require stormwater management infrastructure improvements along this property, I'm thinking about, our house and others like it. Like, to your point, they're going to calculate the new roof line of the new building against the lot size and tell them you need to put in 2 or 3 dry pits, which they'll place wherever their developer, wants to put them. And then it is solely what those dry pits can take in during a large rain event. Okay.
Yeah.
And we don't obviously know the placement of any sort of redeveloped property, like where they're going to place the house on the lot, et cetera. Like,
We
Okay.
have a general idea based on the draft site plan that we have, which is why we want to get this over to them. So if they need to make any changes with the foundation, Cass and Stuart Plank can figure that out at this point, especially ahead of the time before they file an application with county DPS in the town.
Any other questions?
I would like to clarify, it's not the Plank property causing the problem. It's just the Plank property's there within the 6 acres of watershed, and it's the most likely property where we can help resolve some of the issue. Because with talking to Miss Banville, obviously the water's coming from the Plank property into her yard, but they're not the ones that are necessarily causing it. If you look at the floodplain map, I mean, it's significant. It's over six acres worth of water going into a 15-inch pipe. So
Yeah, looking at the floodplain map, and if I'm reading this correctly, right? I mean, this water starts up by Littledale Road and flows through the backyards. I mean, to Ann Banville's point, right? It doesn't much matter. It's coming off the Plank property. There are other places that Brutus is going to look at capturing the water before it gets to the Plank property, but certainly improvements made now before there's a redevelopment of the Plank property to catch it before it ends up in the backyards of the Kensington Parkway properties, right? This is an opportunity to do this all along Frederick Avenue. So.
Are we prepared for a motion?
Yeah, there's no more questions. I will remove the motion to approve resolution number R-09-2026.
Your second?
Second.
All those in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Sorry.
Stuart, did you aye or
No, I'm opposed.
opposed? Okay.
And just for the record, I want to move this forward because of the impending development and the need for some sort of interim solution, but fully support the earlier discussion led by Nate that we need to push for a more structural, more bioengineered, more innovative approach and get political support for that.
Yeah, in my view, we have to pursue them in parallel. We can't leave the uncertainty, at least, especially for that development.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Can we go to number 2? Oh, Joe?
I'm sorry, Mayor. Does the fact that there was a dissenting vote on this resolution mean that the resolution does not pass? Doesn't it need to have a unanimous vote by the town council?
To override the requirement, yeah, and you have to have a supermajority.
Which is what? 4-0?
Well, a supermajority of 4, 3 is a majority. So if 4 people are voting, so yes.
So bottom line, it does not pass? Is that the
That is the bottom line, yes.
So, Stuart, what's the alternative?
Alternative to what?
What do we do? Just not do anything?
No, I think I would request that the town staff get a second quote and we compete the bid according to the town ordinance that requires a competitive bid for costs of over $30,000.
Happy to. So, Matt, in doing so, what, just based on estimates of the time it's taken for other RFPs that we've had to put together, how long do you think that process would take, and how much staff time is involved in that?
It's a formal bid process. It would have to be put out in the Maryland marketplace. I would say minimum 2 months.
2 months to get it ready and put it out, or 2 months until we would have bids back in front of us?
Probably take us 2 months to get it out and
Okay.
a bid. Then we're looking at time beyond that. We're going into the summer. Yeah, I would say minimum 2 months.
So by the
Okay.
time back here, it'd probably be talking about September or October.
Well, if we're doing 2 months, let's say it's July and August, if it goes out September 1 with, I don't know what is reasonable, 30 days for responses plus reviews. So that's September plus reviews. It may not come back to us till November. Maybe it's October. I don't want to be a pessimist, but that's the timeline in my head that I'm thinking. 2 months to draft it, put it into e-marketplace, some period that it is open for review and bids, a bid, then bid submission date, bid reviewed internally. That process to me strikes me as that could be 4 months in total, if that's fair.
But we seem to not have urgency. The urgency is just being able to give guidance to that property owner, the former Plank property, right? That's the most urgent issue. Do what you shared is what you shared in the materials in preparation for the meeting sufficient to at least guide that conversation, or is there anything we can do for less in the interim that's not above 30,000? I guess, Stuart, that's what asking you, like, were you proposing some alternative than fully canceling this or bidding?
No, I don't.
Competitively bidding?
I think it's an important thing. I think we should absolutely pursue it. I think we should try to do it while being mindful of that this is a significant sum of money for a town that is not that large. And so honestly, this is the first I've heard of it. And it seemed to me like if we are gonna quickly pull the trigger on a $60,000 study with 35 minutes of debate, when the law currently on the books is $30,000 or above needs to be bid, that's something that the town should have considered before bringing it to the council.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. And it's good to have that context, because just saying no doesn't really provide the opportunity for
Sure.
that conversation. So thanks for sharing that.
But flooding has been going on in that area for a long time. I mean, ever since I've lived here. So it's just more of an opportunity that we have the piece of property that's going to get redeveloped. So, which is what's pushing this. So, Matt, have you talked to Stuart to see where he is lately?
Not this Stuart, right?
Yeah, that's this Stuart. Matt. Talking
If
about.
I talk
To Stuart Plank of where
No.
he project, maybe it would be good to reach out to him.
Okay.
And possibly, I mean, that water is going to come into his property too.
Correct.
And I'm assuming they've had problems there. I don't know, but wouldn't be surprised. And maybe we see if he's willing to contribute maybe to this study.
Okay.
Or Matt, maybe there's a way to do the bare essentials that gets it down in price. But I do respect the opinions of Councilmember Sparker and wanting to, if it is that high, wanting to bid it out. So I think those are the two options, right?
I will say this has been in line with every drainage analysis that Brutus has been doing for the last 3 years. They did win a bid for the town. We've been carrying that contract forward. They did a drainage analysis for Hadley and Washington Street. They did a drainage analysis for St. Paul Street, and they did a drainage analysis for Farragut Avenue. This would be the 4th drainage analysis they've done for the town, and this is consistent with the 3 prior pricing.
As Councilmember Sparker, do you remember voting on any of those that were above 30,000 in the past? And if so, why not this one?
This is the first opportunity I've had to participate for a drainage study. I will say, just going forward for everybody else's awareness, I am in favor of bidding contracts. I think it's important. We saw from the parking study significant interest in that work. And I think the process, while it was onerous, was in the town's interest. And so just for everybody's awareness going forward, I think bidding contracts is a positive thing.
Mayor, if I might,
Please.
with respect to this, there are other options that the town has other than bidding and overriding with a supermajority. One is if the contractor is providing pricing that is consistent with another fully bid contract by another government with bidding requirements that are similar to the town's. I don't know if Matt knows whether or not Brutus is providing pricing that is consistent with another fully bid contract that they have, but that's something he could inquire into also. Because that is another way that your code allows the town to proceed by adopting another fully bid contract. And if it covers the same type of services and is still in effect, and they're willing to offer the same pricing.
Matt, is that an option?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to talk with Mahendra and Anchor over at Brutus to see if we can piggyback off an existing municipal contract. I know they have a county contract. I can see if we can piggyback off that.
That could move you along
Okay.
a little faster than having to do the full bid process, and you'd still have the benefit that the contract went out to full bid with another jurisdiction. And that provision in your code is designed to do that. I know 58,000 for the town is a good sum, but for a lot of places, it's not. And it many times the cost of having to go out for bid can really add to the cost of the project itself. So that's why you have that as an option in your code too, and maybe something you want to check. Then you will have hopefully satisfied the concern of Councilmember Sparker that it has been bid out and companies have been required to come in and compete for the bid.
Okay. All right. Sounds like that we're going to pick this back up then in our July meeting. See where we are. Okay. All right. Number 2.
Thank you, Mayor. Before you this evening, Council is resolution number R-10-2026, a resolution of the Mayor and Town Council declaring the first Friday in June to be National Gun Violence Awareness Day in the town of Kensington to honor and remember all victims and survivors of gun violence, and to declare that we as a country must do more to receive gun violence.
Yeah. This is something that we've done for a number of years, and I believe it's tomorrow, correct? Yeah, the first Friday in June.
Yep. So wear orange to commemorate the day if you can.
Okay. Well, I think we met up one time, I think it was an election day, and we have all sorts of orange in our closets. So.
Yeah. We used to do this with a video message, right?
We did. I was, I know at some point, the town seemed to have a little bit more want for this. So, but I think it's important to do it anyway.
Yeah, me too. Thanks for keeping it on the agenda.
All right. Could I get a motion?
Yeah, I'll move to approve resolution number R-10-2026, a resolution to declare the first Friday in June National Gun Violence Awareness Day in the town of Kensington.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, as mentioned at the beginning of the meeting by Matt, I'm going to ask for a motion to close the meeting so that we can discuss with our town attorney updates on the HOA and the Pepco property. Could I get a motion? Oh, Joe?
Could you explain, Mayor, why it's required or necessary to go into closed session on these matters?
Because we're getting an update from our town attorney.
Right, but beyond that, what necessitates this closing of the public meeting?
Because she has the updates from our last meeting, and we need to hear them before we take them public.
Well, I was hoping for a little more substantive answer, but it looks like I'm not getting it.
No. Okay, is there a second?
We need the motion first, Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'd like to get a motion to close the meeting.
Yeah, I move to close the meeting. Do we need to adjourn the open session first or no?
No,
No, we're still in.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I move to close the meeting to discuss the updates from town attorney.
And is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. All right.